Is anyone here for the Civic Sidewalk talk? No? That's okay. You can show there.
You are now. Yay.
Just move my attention. Okay, thank you. So today's, let me know if I need to do like this. Sidewalk talk is about the American Supreme Court. I think to start, I just kind of want to contextualize. Why is it important to know about the American Supreme Court? All right. 2 years ago, summer 2020, the American Supreme Court issues a decision that says that the right to an abortion is not found in the Constitution. It's not found within the 14th Amendment. Not a controversial way to start off there. Undoes about nearly half century of Supreme Court precedent. 2015, the U.S. Supreme Court issues a decision that says states cannot deny to same-sex couples marriage licenses. Doing so violates protections under the 14th Amendment. 2008, the Supreme Court says, or at least clarifies for the first time, that the Second Amendment guarantees a right to bear arms to individuals, not just militia. 1954, the American Supreme Court says that schools that segregate based off of race cannot do so. Doing so violates equal protection and due process. This is why it's important to understand the fundamentals, the basics of the American Supreme Court. Because the decisions that they make affect the very rights of civil liberties, the structure of government, the power of government, and limits on government. So I'm going to provide a very, very quick, hopefully snappy overview. Have some sheets there if you want, guys. Presidents, pocket constitutions, never leave home without it. I got plenty over there. But really quick overview here. Okay, so the American Supreme Court is established in Article 3 of the Constitution. The American Supreme Court is the highest court in the United States. It has 9 justices on the Supreme Court. That number of justices is established by Congress, not by the Constitution. So at any time, Congress can change. You can reduce it, you can expand it, but it currently 9 Supreme Court justices. But because of the scenario I gave you in the beginning, because the examples that I gave you, right, the choice to place justices in the Supreme Court is one of the most important choices that can be made in government. It is made by the president. The president nominates judges to all federal courts and the Supreme Court. Those nominees must be confirmed by the Senate. But one of the reasons why it's the most important thing that a president can do is the president's term will last 4 years, 8 years, someday goes well, maybe less than 4 years. But a justice will be on the court 10, 20, 30 years, because a justice's term is not limited. It's in life terms. The Constitution is terms of good behavior, right? So that decision, right, to put a judge on the Supreme Court has decades of effects, right? In terms of power, right, what can the Supreme Court do? One thing I think that needs to be understood in the Supreme Court is that we have a common law system of justice, a common law legal system, rather. What this means is in the United States, elected officials pass laws, they pass statutes, right? Agencies pass regulations, but laws also made by judges. This is essentially, I'm overgeneralizing, but essentially what a common law system is, that judges can also make law. How so? They don't pass statutes, right? That's not what they do. But their power to quote unquote make law comes from their interpretive power. Because they get to interpret what statutes mean. They can interpret what regulations mean, and they get to interpret what the Constitution means. First Amendment, freedom of speech. What does speech mean? It just says speech. Congress should not pass a law infringing on freedom of speech, right? But what does speech mean? The Supreme Court decides that. What does it mean to bear arms? Is it clause or is it bang bang, right? The Constitution, the Supreme Court decides what that means. What does due process mean? What does equal protection mean? The Supreme Court, through its interpretive power, tells us what this means. That is an awesome power. And I can say much more about the Supreme Court now. If you have any questions about its calendar, the number of justices in the courts, its jurisdiction, I'm happy to answer that, but I feel like I'm already well above past my 5 minutes at this point. So I will happily end my little spiel there.